Well, hi there. So here's a logo that we're going to use for converting to the web. Here we are in Illustrator. This is a recent logo that I designed for a nonprofit having to do with family and children. And we're going to make this into a couple different sizes for the web. So this is the website that I have posted in our assignment that is always the up-to-date social media sizes webpage. Today, just for our quick demo, I'm going to make a profile picture for this foundation. So I can see here that it's 180 by 180 pixels, and because this is a business, just double checking that yes, business page profile pictures are the same size. So in Illustrator, I'm going to just double check a few things here. This is our logo. Maybe I'd want these guys to be actually pathfind. Use my Pathfinder, I should say, path found, to combine those items. And I always also like to go up to view and outline just to make sure that there's nothing outstanding in the document. And this guy actually is indicating that there could be an issue. He is not in outlines. So I'm going to go ahead and create him as outlines. On the Mac, I can do it as a keystroke or go up to Object, Create Outlines. They moved it on me, didn't they? There it is. It's now under Type, Create Outlines. That little tricky Illustrator, that's why keyboard shortcuts are always good to know because they change things. So Command or Alt Y gets us back to our regular view, or that was up in View Outline or View Regular mode. Preview. Voila. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, my artwork, and copy, and go over to Photoshop and go to File, New, and we saw before that our size needs to be 180 by 180, and my computer is deciding to take a moment. There we go. 180 pixels by 180 pixels. And we want to make sure that our color mode is RGB because this is going to be for the web. And yep, white background, fine, perfect, great. Everything else looks good. And create. I'd like to zoom in a little bit here. I've got my crop tool on. I'm going to switch that to my move tool. I'm just going to go ahead and paste. Now, how are we going to paste this? Well, there's a couple ways that we could paste it as a smart object, which keeps those vectors in place, or as pixels. We don't want to paste the path. We don't want to do the shape layer, and this is really up to you as how you want to go ahead and save your object and your working files. I'm going to go with Smart Object, and it's also indicating here, do I want to add it to my current library? Again, up to you and how you work with the Creative Cloud. I use a Google Drive, so I don't really need it to go into my current library. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And this automatically stretches it to the width of that Photoshop document that we've created. And if you need some white space on your edges, you can go ahead and scale that in. Hey, there we go. And I'm using a combination of keys here, Shift to maintain the proportion, and then I use that Alt or Option button to keep it in the center as I scale. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Enter, And it is looking a little pixelated, but again, we are at 300% here, and this did keep this as a vector smart object. So zooming out, there is our 180 by 180 profile picture for Facebook. And something else to potentially consider, let's go ahead and hide that. Maybe, this is not the most readable because it is going to be smaller. Maybe we use more of an icon for our logo. Going back over here to my artwork and just selecting the O with the ladybug head here. Let's go ahead and paste that in and see if that's the option that we're going to use for our client. Maybe make that a little bigger. I'm just having some issues with what keys I want to use because I apparently need a little bit more coffee. So there we go. It's now scaled in the center. And hit enter there. So perhaps you have one of those brands where you can use more of an icon versus the entire logo for your website or your online presence. And I'm going to go ahead and export both of them and potentially present that to my client. So from here, to save it as a JPEG or a PNG, we're going to go to File, Export. Quick export as PNG because we like quick. And you can save that to wherever you have your file management system set up. And here is house. And we're going to go with FB option 1. Save. And then we're going to go and do the same technique. File, export, quick export. And I'm going to go with FB option 2. And so this is now a document that has multiple layers. And we're going to go ahead and just save this as a PSD. File, save. And this can be our Facebook working document in case we do need to make changes. So that original folder is on my desktop, house. And I'm just going to call it Facebook. Going to my files here, minimizing that. I now have those two options as pings here in my folder.